everybody. Where's Cordy? We don't know, but that's okay. Hi, I'm Mike Netter, and welcome to the weekly town hall that we're doing. It's an exciting night as we move the recall toward the end here. Cordy did have another speaking engagement tonight, allegedly, and we've got a lot to talk about. But before we even get there, I want to tell everybody that everything going on this week, as I've mentioned before, all the action happening back and forth, and I'm glad I got the chance to answer a lot of these questions. All the excitement that we've had in the last weekend, where Orrin and I and a whole crew of us, thanks to Joe Collins, were in San Francisco. We were in Sacramento. We did the news conference, thanks to Randy. All this excitement only matters because we're getting it done, and don't anybody out there forget it. And because speaking engagements are the mode of the day, because there's a lot going on, I'm very honored tonight to have a special guest that a lot of you have a lot of questions for, and she has another speaking engagement too. Before I do the introduction, with that fine background that you have, Linda, you look like you're out in the woods in a witness protection program. I want to mention a lot of questions about what the next steps are, what looking out for elections, about verification. I want to remind everybody, and Susan or Robin are going to remind you tonight, today is the 10th. Orrin is out there, and you're not going to hear much of them tonight, much to my chagrin, of course, because he's out there along with Dan and other folks getting all these petitions that you have distributed, because we have to get them to the county register or they just don't count. For everybody out there that's gathered them, including the Facebook groups like Recall Gavin Newsom in the last 6-8 months that we've been doing this, God bless you. But it doesn't matter if we don't get the petitions to the county registers. It just doesn't count. So Linda tonight's going to talk a little bit from the Election Integrity Project about some of the things that are part of the process of verification, some of the things going forward. But we need to stay focused on task in this next 7 days as we accomplish something historic. We are literally at the half-yard line. We are literally almost to the goal that we set out months ago to do. But we can't stop short of the goal line. We have to make sure that we gather every signature that we can. We have to make sure now, as we change modes in these last 7 days that we have left, really only about 5 business days, we do everything we can that Robin and Susan are going to talk about to change from mailing them in like we were before to getting them to the proper parties. So I'd like to introduce somebody who I'm amazed by the knowledge she has, which is something for me to say because I think I have a lot. This is Linda Payne, and give a silent round of applause for everybody out there watching on Facebook. To Linda has devoted like a decade of your life to making sure that our elections are clean. And Linda, you have the floor for about 15 minutes because I know you have somewhere to be because you're in high demand.
Very good. Thank you, Mike, and everybody else for having me on. And it is really an honor to be here with so many of you because I know how hard you've all worked. I know many of the volunteers with the IPCA are also volunteering with the Recall Gavin. And so I know these are amazing people out there. So we're getting the same questions. And so I'm going to start with clarifying signature verification. California has 2 different sets of laws, one that governs what we the people have the right to do when it comes to an actual election. And we are actually have the most transparent laws. Well, I should say almost the most transparent laws in the country. There are 28 states that allow citizens to observe just as citizens, not under a party. And we are right up at the top with being able to see every aspect of the election process. So that's really important. However, the laws of California regarding signature verification of petitions and recalls is different. It does not fall under the same category. So therefore, EIPCA is standing in the wings waiting to go to the next step when we actually have a governor's race. But right now, we're not able to help very much with the signature verification that's taking place with the recall. As it happens, the way those laws work is they leave it up to the counties. I don't know what the laws are of each county. And so each of your county leaders would probably need to find out from your counties, if you haven't already done that, what they're going to allow you to do. But once those signatures are in, and as Mike said, right now, the number one focus is to get across the finish line with those signatures. We know for sure from 10 years of documenting signature verification that there's a huge inconsistency about who's doing the actual documenting. And we have seen them toss out perfectly matched signatures. We've seen them keep signatures that don't match at all. So it's really good that you are gathering so many more signatures than you need, because that hopefully will take care of the discrepancy. Once we finish, once your effort is finished with getting the signatures across and you recall Gavin, then we start a major effort beginning to organize to train people across the state to observe the signature process. That is a big undertaking, and I'm assuming we'll do a different call for that because I don't want to take your whole time here. What I'd like to do with the rest of the time, since what I can tell you about signature verification is actually quite detailed, and it won't help you with the matching of the process of the petitions. What I'd like to do is give you some real hope of the work that you're doing is so critically important. In 10 years, California citizens are truly heroes of the country. And I say that because while the rest of the country has laughed at California for voting to destroy their state, even as we had state, national level calls with other states telling them, Californians are not voting to destroy our state. We are losing the ability to weigh in, basically. As a constitutional republic, the cornerstone is that we, the people, choose those who govern, and we remove those we deem as corrupt or no longer doing their job. By 2015, the IPC had a civil rights hearing with the United States Commission on Civil Rights, providing enough evidence by that time to show that California citizens were in fact losing the ability to self-govern because we were losing the ability to choose. That report, unfortunately, was so mammoth that the regional commissioner who oversaw that hearing was fired, and that report was redacted and buried. So in spite of that, California citizens stepped up every year that we asked you to do that, take our training, go to the polls, observe, document, and turn in reports signed under penalty of perjury that would be accepted by a court of law year after year after year, to where we are now able to file a lawsuit against the governor, the attorney general, the secretary of state, and 13 county registrars of voters in order to challenge the constitutionality of the laws that they've been passing. I was going to say on my video is showing. So the important thing here to know now is anything going through the courts is slow. And so people are waiting. What do we do? What do we do? When does it go next? So I'm going to give you a very quick picture of what that looks like. We filed a lawsuit January 4th. It is the most significant lawsuit in the country because we are not challenging who won a congressional race or the presidential race in 2020. We're challenging the fact that for 30 years, California has continued to pass laws and implement policies and procedures and emergency regulations and on that are unconstitutional. The Constitution does give them the authority to pass laws, but we're saying it doesn't give them the authority to pass laws that remove the integrity of the process and to forcibly transform the state of California from a republic to a socialist oligarchy. And that's exactly what they've done. So this is really important because not only has the IPCA filed this lawsuit, which we could have done on our own in that we do have standing. To have standing, you have to have been working at proving corruption for a number of years, which we've done 10 years. You have to have attempted to fix it. We have provided critical reports from the very first election in 2012 to registrars, Secretary of State, DAs, legislators, you name it. Nothing was done. So that's the second point we qualified. The third point is that we've been harmed, and we have been harmed. The amount of time, effort, and personal resources that all of us have put in with to prove what's happened, and then to have nothing done, that causes harm. But what's really important about this case is there were congressional candidates that agreed to step up and sign up and be plaintiffs in this case, and that is huge. That's huge because it allows us to include a fourth constitutional violation. And I wrote them down real quick. I was going to put them on my screen, but I want to make sure. By the way, we are sending this complaint to every one of you in your inbox. If you didn't get it today, please go to our website and sign up to get our emails, and we'll send it out to you tomorrow so you can have it and you can read it. And you will see why this is so significant. While the other elections focused on a candidate, the president, and they were thrown out for standing and all kinds of things, so far they have not been able to challenge our standing, and they're not going to be able to throw this out because of the focus being a constitutional issue. As far as I understand, there are no other lawsuits like this in the country. We have 5 states that have already called us and asked us, how do we do this? How do we challenge our legislators for passing California-style laws? And we think this is going to spread throughout the country. We're going to need to work on this together and raise funds. We think this will go all the way to the Supreme Court because, once again, we are challenging the authority of legislators to pass laws. Yep, they can, but can they pass laws like California has? And we say, no, they can't. In fact, we're including an Article 4, Section 4 violation in our lawsuit. And that is that every state has the right to be governed as a republic and to be protected from invasion. California has, in fact, not protected Californians from invasion through bad law. The first bad law was passed in 2013, where they allowed non-citizens to process American citizens' ballots. These non-citizens do not have to declare an oath to the United States. They don't have to even say they're not committed to their home state. They don't have to do anything that American citizens have to do to be poll workers. They can simply come in and process our ballots. So how do we know how they're processing and whose interest they have in mind? And then in 2015, the motor voter was passed, and we know from our own research of the data that non-citizens are in fact being added to the voter rolls, and nobody is allowed to know who they are. So they're voting and they're processing our ballots. So boom, we have an Article 4, Section 4. It is the most critical election or lawsuit in the country, and we hope you'll all continue to work with us on supporting that. The second lawsuit that I want to tell you about too is one that was just heard in the Supreme Court on March 2nd. We've been working with Landmark Legal Foundation since 2017, providing him with what happens to a state when we lose the ability to choose those who govern. And I drove him throughout the state for 6 days in 2017, meeting with people from Siskiyou County all the way down to San Diego County, people who would drive 2 counties away to meet with him in an anonymous way because they were afraid of losing jobs. He went home with 3 boxes of documented evidence of what happened to California because our elections are being manipulated by those who know how to use our system against us. That firm, Mike O'Neill, our lawyer, filed an amicus brief. That's a friend of the court brief on the Arizona case. Arizona passed a law against ballot harvesting. And because we have so much documentation of what's happened in ballot harvesting, they asked if they could write or submit a friend of the court brief with our documentation. And so we did that. It again is one of the strongest cases that the Supreme Court is going to hear. They've already heard it. They didn't throw it out. And the question on that one is the Voting Rights Act, Section 2, makes sure that minorities cannot be manipulated. And there are 21 briefs that were added saying, yes, everyone has the right to vote and cast their own vote in their own precinct. But ours alone says, yes, that's true. And we don't think their law violated that. But on top of that, we think ballot harvesting should be made illegal because vulnerable populations are in fact being manipulated into handing over their ballots. And then we don't know if they're turned in or how they're handled because there's no chain of custody. Anyway, I've thrown a lot at you right now, but there's a lot to be hopeful for. The signatures are almost there. Our lawsuit against California is moving its way through. The Supreme Court heard the Bronovich case with our brief. They'll be reading our brief. And right now we're hearing that the Supreme Court is inclined to vote in favor of Arizona. That opens the door for our case because we've included ballot harvesting as well. Anyway, I'll leave it for questions now because I know I threw a lot at you, but I will also send some of this to you by email so then you can actually look at everything when you have time to actually read it.
Linda, I think it's important again that you repeat. I'm trying to field like 72 questions at once here. Again, how did they find the Election Integrity Project? I know it was up in our feed, and it was actually for everybody out there in the actual invite while you're on this call and observing on Facebook. We actually put the Election Integrity Project's website in our notice, but a lot of people don't read it. But let's tell them live.
If you go to www.eip-ca.com, you're going to actually land on our landing page. We are now working in 4 states. So you're going to see a California icon. Click on the California icon and you'll see all the work we've done in California. You'll see the amended complaint. You'll also be able to download the Supreme Court hearing, the brief that was submitted to the Supreme Court hearing. So eip-ca.com.
And for anybody out there who's slow, talking to myself, okay, if they Google Election Integrity Project, my guess is they would find you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. We're usually at the top of the list.
Right. And also be aware out there, just as people come out, and I want to make a point for you, Linda, because you're probably the most popular person we've had on since maybe me, is that there are other groups out there, just as they play on the Recall Gavin name, that are playing a little bit in the Election Integrity Project name with a slight twist in the end. And I've seen emails from them. There is only one original Election Integrity Project. And I've noticed lately that everybody loves a winner, like the Recall, and I've seen other emails like that. Am I correct?
You are, and we're extremely concerned about it. Thank you for bringing that up. The organizations that have launched just this year are claiming they're going to clean up the voter rolls. They're going to get poll workers out. They're going to be involved in legislative alerts. The bottom lines are those are just fundraising fronts, because before they can even attempt to clean up the voter rolls, they're going to put work for at least a year. Then they've got to prove that there's a problem, and then they're going to go through the courts, because California is not going to clean up the voter rolls without a lawsuit. We know that because in 2017 we sued Padilla and Logan to clean up the voter rolls, and we ended up with a very weak settlement agreement. So there's too many workarounds. So it's a fundraising front. But if you want to help this lawsuit, you want to donate to EIPCA.
So let's be clear on some things moving forward. Just as the fight to Gavin Newsom doesn't end on March 17th, and just as the fight that we've had for this recall has taken place a long time, and just as the Election Integrity Project's been at this for 10 years, if I remember correctly.
That's
wow.
Correct.
Got a lot more gumption than I do, Linda. I'm tired after a year. The reality is other organizations are going to come forward, but we have to stay true. Nobody starts a recall. Nobody starts a project with the depth that Linda Payne and her cohorts have done Electric Project instantaneously. We need to stay true to what we're doing. And Linda has a lot of information. We're going to have her on again. We're probably going to have her on the Friday night radio show. But the main thing to get out of this is lawsuits have already been filed. They're proceeding through the courts. It doesn't get a lot of publicity in the press. Shocking, but true. And the reality is things are being done. We can't watch a verification, but we have our eye on it. We are going to move to the election process once we get this on the ballot. And we've got a good pipeline in our group to Linda. I don't want your phone exploding tomorrow or your website crashing. Again, we've got a lot of people out there watching this, but we're all working together to make sure we have election integrity, and we're all working together to make sure that we use this integrity to recall the governor of California. Linda, I know you have somewhere else to be tonight, and Lois and the Republicans are waiting for you locally. I think we've answered most of the questions. God bless you, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on tonight.
Well, thank you so much. And it's an honor to speak with so many patriots and people who really understand what's at risk in California. Thank you, Mike, for your work and for your team's work. And we look forward to going to the next step and training. We love to train 30,000 Californians to observe in every county in the state. That's our goal together, right, Mike? More than that, if we can.
Absolutely. And that takes a question for volunteers that are going to ask, what can we do next? Well, the two things we could do next is making sure everybody out there fired up and ready to go after March 17th, that what we do is continue the battle
Right.
to recall Gavin and make sure that people vote yes, and then work with Linda and our groups together to monitor these elections to make sure that the voice of we the people is heard. Correct?
Absolutely.
All right, Linda,
Absolutely.
thank you very
You
much.
tell us your website again, one more time, please.
It's EIP-CA.com.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. All righty, and thank you very much. So I'm going to log off now and jump on another call. And I look forward to speaking with you again and doing whatever we can together to remove Gavin. And actually, wouldn't it be wonderful to put a constitutionalist in his place?
Yeah.
So God
Yes,
bless,
that
God
happens.
bless you all. Okay,
Thank you very much.
take care. All righty, bye-bye now.
Now, for the next transition here tonight, I get a lot of questions with a little bit of confusion. I'm going to flip to Robin and Susan before we flip to Randy. It's like, I don't get it. It says March 10th on the website and it's March 17th. It's pretty simple. March 17th, it's the official date where it ends, but this just in, your signed petitions don't magically appear by fax or some kind of Star Trek technology at the various 58 Board of Registers. But people like Orrin, the hardest working man in the recall business, to quote James Brown or paraphrase that, is out delivering petitions now. And this next section we're telling you is very important. So everybody, I've had about 7 questions tonight in both the feeds is to, what do we do? What do we do? March 10th, March 17th. And I'm going to flip that to Robin and Susan before Robin announces a 2-part this week count as to what you need to do if you have a neighbor, friend, cousin, relative, someone you know who has a signature they haven't turned in yet. Robin, you're on mute. But your mouth looks very good talking.
There you go. All right. What Mike just said is really important. We're at the point now where if you've not yet signed, or if you've signed and you're sitting on those petitions, it's pretty much too late to mail your petitions to Sacramento, which is the PO box at the bottom of your petition. So what we'd like you to do is go to our website, recallgavin2020.com, and you will see the second tab past the donate button says information by county. If you click on that, there's a drop down that says county info pages. And once you do that, you can click on your specific county where you live, and you will find the name of the person in that county to either call or email them to make arrangements to get your petition to them so they can deliver it to the county recorder. The only people that can deliver to the county recorders are people that have a letter specifically from Orrin Heatley, the lead proponent, giving them permission to deliver petitions on his behalf. So that's really important that everyone now go directly to their county representative and make those deliveries direct, or they may tell you a place that's convenient in town that's a permanent signing location where you can drop them off and they will be sure to pick them up by Tuesday so they can organize them and get them in the order the county representative, the county recorder prefers before they make their last delivery on Wednesday, March 17th. I saw someone ask a question about which signature to use. When you sign the petition, you use the signature that you generally sign any document with. According to my county recorder in Butte County, they have typically 3 of your signatures on file. and they will scan to make sure that your signature is similar or very close to one of those 3 signatures on file. That's typically your voter registration card, your driver's license, or perhaps a passport or some other signature they've picked up along the way. So use a traditional signature that you use on a daily basis and you should be safe. Do you have anything to add, Susan, as far as this last minute? Mike? Did you
I
have a
want to
question?
be clear.
you.
Maybe do things in sound bites here, Susan, before we get to you. The sound bite is really simple. You notice the petition is off the front page. We need to take donations to continue the fight. But if anybody says to you, I went to Gavin2020.com and I don't know what to do, go to the counties, find the person in the county, get a hold of them with some petitions. Is that fair enough, Robin and Susan?
Yes.
However, if they have a problem or they have any questions, they can send an email to either Robin or I. Robin is robin.recallgavin2020@gmail.com. And my email is susan.recallgavin2020@gmail.com.
Okay.
And as far as donations, you can find the link at on our website, recallgavin2020.com. There's a big donate link, and we could definitely use donations to continue this fight. We're not done. Once we do get all the signatures, Recall Gavin 2020 is still in the game. We're going to assure or try to assure that he gets voted out.
We are. We also have to continue the fight on a number of fronts. It's a good time, Robin, before I flip back to you, and Randy will get to you in a second, and the dog. Dogs have become so popular in this recall. Oren's on stage with his, Randy's got his on camera. I'm hurt. I don't have one. I'm feeling a little remiss. But before we go there, and by the way, one of these dogs may get elected governor and be a better governor than Gavin would, but I didn't say that. So the reality is, before we get to the count, understand a couple of things here. The fight must continue. And I know everybody knows, what can we do after the 17th? There's a lot we can do. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. One of the reasons the recall has been successful is because, well, frankly, people like me, I'm a simple guy. And it's a myopic one task to get this on the ballot. Once we do that, we will go on to the next task and utilize everybody. Also, along those lines, we have to continue with the radio show. That's another thing we need funding for. This is not us putting us on the radio. Well, they put me on the radio because I got a face for radio, but that's a story for another day. But the reality is we have to continue this fight. And before we get to Robin's big reveal, did you like that, Robin? In terms of the count that we talk about there, I also want to say, take a good look at what Gavin did just this week, just last night, with that insane press conference that he had, which he called the State of the State, which is kind of redundant. It literally was a joke. He addressed nothing. That, what you saw, was in response to us. It was a campaign ad. It was a big Zoom meeting. It stated nothing. It didn't talk about the EDD crisis. It didn't talk about the scandals that we're going to talk about again on Friday's radio show. He's in Dodger Stadium, in an empty stadium, looking very nervous because he's there with absolutely nobody except 2 Zoom screens. And it's interesting that he's opening Major League Baseball before he gives us a timeline for opening our schools. There's a lot. It was just an amplification of everything Gavin is doing wrong and why we have to continue this fight. And Randy, before we jump to you, because Robin, what do you have for us in terms of numbers tonight?
Well, I have some exciting kind of interesting news statistics that I found it really intriguing. We're working alongside Rescue California, and I spoke to Ann today, and she suggested I share this tonight because this is really information that is, I think, encouraging for California. And we found out that 36% of the signatories up through January who signed our petition were not Republicans. That's
Wow.
pretty amazing. And in addition to that, listen to this one, 50% of the signatures up to January were made by women. Recall strong. And we always joke among all of us is don't tick off the mama bears. And there are a lot of women in our state that are very frustrated by the fact they're trying to work, they're trying to provide for their families oftentimes, and yet now their additional burden is homeschooling their children. So it's been very much in the forefront of the minds of a lot of women that things are just not how they should be in California. So all of that is going to take us right up to where we are now with an amazing new count. Not only did we reach our goal of 2 million, but I literally had numbers coming in right up until 10 minutes before the town hall started. And our count tonight, as of right now and growing, is 2,060,000 signatures.
Wait a minute.
Way to go.
Wait a minute. My hearing's going. My mind is cloudy. I need to hear you repeat that.
2,060,000 people in California have signed the walking papers for Gavin Newsom. We are ready to kick him to the curb, and it is going to get done. And every single person that has worked so hard should be so proud of themselves. We have made history, and we're not done. These numbers are continuing to come in as I'm talking right now. So next Wednesday, just wait. I can't even imagine what our count will be.
Now, understand something out there that's very important, which is another big figure. You know what I'm going to ask, right, Robin?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Because we talked about this ahead of time. No suspense here. How many have we actually on the way to being delivered?
All right. I can tell you that our third-party verification person who has working right along with us to verify all the signatures that the volunteers gather, that the mailrooms gather, they have currently verified 1,871,575 signatures. Those are signatures they have looked up, they have cross-checked signatures, they have done their best to find duplicates, so they have verified out of the 2,060,000, 1,870,000. And those signatures are in the process of being turned in to the 58 county recorders' offices. I can tell you right now, of that 1,870,000, in addition to everything that has been reported, we know right now we have 1,838,000 turned in, and the rest are on their way.
Now, understand, woohoo, but understand something else when I say we're at the half-yard line. Okay, so everybody's worried about games being played, and we're sure they will. And again, things are inept and things are evil. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day who did it. So that means everybody out there, for instance, in Randy's press release that he's going to put out, we have a number turned in, and we have a number that need to get turned in of the 2 million plus that Robin's talking about. We need to get them to the county people like now. Got it? We need to get every signature in that we can. Everything over the weekend, Yupa Collective, those things lining your front seat everywhere need to get in now to your county person now. Because understand, tonight's Wednesday night, for those of you paying attention at home. That means tomorrow's Thursday and Friday. Note the pattern. And that means we only have 5 business days left. And they sound like you run down to the county recorder's office and they say, oh, we've been waiting for you. Here's some donuts. they have to make an appointment, and they tend to be grumpy people because of where they work. So they have to have an appointment, which means these fantastic volunteers, many on the call that have agreed to be the people with the authorization letter, have a bit of a challenge in front of them. You need to get them to your county person now, right now, so all true millionaires close are going to count. That is why the count that the county register will report is going to be slightly different than we're reporting. But this isn't an over-under test. We have no extra credit. We need to verify slightly 1.5 million to get this on the ballot. We're in safe range of that with a verification rate. I will sleep better at night, which is most important to all of you, I know. And so will Robin, which should be even more important, and Susan, if we get all of them in now, because the bigger the figure gets, the less chance evil or inept will come into play. And that's really what all your questions are about. Is it evil or inept? It doesn't matter at the end of the day if we get enough signatures in. We are this close to the goal line. So what are we going to do next? It really doesn't matter. What are you going to do next week? It really doesn't matter. What matters is the moment now. And Randy, we're going to get to you in 1 second, but I'm going to do a little bit more housekeeping here, okay? Because this is...
I need to ask something real quick, officially from Robin, if I can.
Sure.
In publicly, or Mike, if it's all right. So the number that we're going to go to with the media right now is 2,060,000.
2,060,000.
So that's the only number we're going to go with.
No, we're also going to go with the number that's turned into the registers.
Okay, which is 1,870,000.
Yes.
You got it.
Okay.
All right.
Those are the two numbers that are the gap, because we've grown out of just reporting a weekly number. And the reason, again, you're not hearing him tonight, and with Dan, we're running around and have this massive distribution system to turn them in. And Randy, I know the press has been amazing. I want to thank you publicly for everything you've done. And I want to thank you especially, and we're going to continue to do, by the way, this is like, well, see you, Randy. Well, bye. By the way, we didn't mention. No, what the news conference we did was fantastic on Sunday. It was amazing. The number of people that are paying attention to this, and the momentum has to be kept up. Now, we have a few minutes left, and I want to get some important housekeeping issues out. Robin and Susan, do you have anything you'd like to add here?
No, the only thing I want to add is if you've not yet signed the petition and you plan to do so, please complete that bottom section, because you are your own witness and you are the circulator. And the last thing, if you joined late and you have petitions, rather than mailing them to the PO box on the petition at the bottom, please go to recallgavin2020.com, check on information by county, click on your county, and you will see the name of the person to contact so that you can get your petitions to them directly so that they can be turned in to the county recorder.
Okay.
Okay.
Everything must go in. Now, a couple real important things here. Everybody is like, everybody thinks everything's a plot. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. So you haven't got an email the last couple of weeks because the 240,000 of you in the email system blew up the email service we were on. Dan is transferring to a new email service, and we will start to get emails. We ask that, just as with Election Integrity Project, we need to get people on that list and stay with it so we continue the cause going forward, right? The only way we're really going to get Gavin out of office is if we keep the pressure on. So the town halls will continue. The radio show Friday night, as long as we have funding for it, nod, wink, wink, will continue. This week, we're going to continue with 2 hours, but this week, because of a small, tiny college called USC having a basketball game, we're going to be the lead into the basketball game and be on the air Friday nights at the French Laundry at 6 to 8. It's important, too, that you get everybody to listen to the show, not just so they can hear mine and Oren's witty jokes and Randy's, but it's also, that's the way we're going to continue to drive and build a movement, okay? We must continue to build the movement to get this done, but we've got to make sure we get this final mile. Again, GoCo is through verifying. It's time that we move forward to continue with the next phase, but not until we're through with this next week. Now, I want to go through some, Randy, go ahead, and you have anything else you want to say? Good, but no, I'm kidding. Is there anything else you want to say?
Mike, you're such an amazing guy. I don't know what I'd do without you, Mike Netter. No, it's been a great week. I just wanted to get those numbers out because I literally have we probably have 200 media members, and I'm not underestimating 200 media members who are waiting for this press release to go on our website. So I want to get it to Dan, and I just want to make sure that we got the right numbers, and I think I do now. And you guys have all here on this, the leaders here have already pre-verified the press release. So thank you so much. I'm just going to add those two figures in there so we can get this thing up and out ASAP. Only thing I want to say is thank you to everybody, and thank you for keeping us happy and hopping, and the media has really been amazing, and it's not just local newspapers, it's CBS Morning News and CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and Politico and New York Times and LA Times, and I'm really getting tired of seeing Mike Netter and myself and Oren and everybody on TV and in the press, but that's what we do in a movement. So this has been an absolute treat and a joy, and we're just getting started. So I mean, the main thing is let's not stop. Let's keep the momentum. Let's keep those. We got to become the biggest media story in American politics this year, and I think we're headed in the right way. And I can't thank everybody enough. I'm glad to have Lana Turner here tonight.
Did have a request to see your dog.
Bailey has got to run for his money right now with Lana Turner. Just saying. I know I will really get angry. Oh, there we go. We got the barking. See, she barks right on command, just like Bailey.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a great night. Congratulations, Robin. Congratulations, Susan, and everybody. This is a big night.
So we'll have the final next week. You might want to meet there so Lana doesn't black out everybody on the call. Thank you, Randy. Okay. A couple things to sum up tonight, because tonight's an important call. Sum up number one. Gavin's still an idiot. If you hadn't seen the stupid thing that he did on Tuesday defending his position, don't bother. But bother if you want a good laugh. Gavin is clawing for his political life, even as he still tramples on California. Our focus is Gavin that will stem down to everything else. So don't forget, we've got a lot of corruption to talk about on Friday night show. We're having Will Swain on that at 6 to 8, but understand we have to do something about it. And we are, and we're getting this done. God bless us. Thing number two, we are partnering with the Election Integrity Project. To understand there's been lots of dual tracks going on. What about the little guy I saw out the Board of Registers who had a box in his hand? I couldn't tell if it was lunch or ballots. We're working on it. The lawsuit's been filed. It's made it to the Supreme Court. God, there's lots going on. There's lots going on that all of us are doing together to defend our rights in California. But we need to stay focused on getting these petitions in. The next thing to understand is that it's a beautiful moment. And again, we've made history, but haven't yet accomplished something historic. We are very near the finish line. I keep saying that lately. And the narrative is moving forward and we're evolving it. This narrative that we're doing now is going to the next level, but we have 5 business days left. And the reason, Randy, I want those 2 numbers, I understand there's a gap. Our mentality in the next 5 days has to change, not from how many signatures have we gathered, but how can we lower that gap between how many Orens running around the state that through GoCo that are being turned in to how many can we turn in? My question and challenge for all of you now is not the gathering of signatures. What? Well, that's not what you said in the last 8 months. That's right. But now we've done something historic. Oh, not yet, but we've made history. My challenge to you is get the rest of those signatures, like the people who collected 100, 200 here and there. You're going to go to rallies this weekend. Get them to those county people like now so we can get them in. This is the cherry on top, the frosting on the cake that we must do to ensure that we change the state. We have to continue pushing, but your sole mission right now is to make sure you contact everybody you know and say, you know, when I was over at your house the other day borrowing your lawnmower, which I know I need to return, I saw some petitions sitting on your table. Let's get them to that county person. I'm only talking in the Southern voice because that's the fake voice I use when I borrow from my neighbor. But the scoreboard is that we have to gather all this gap between the 1.8 and the 2,060,000 to get them in, or they don't count. We need every petition to count. Our goals are changing. Here's the thing. Take the action you can take for the next 7 days that we have left in this first phase is to make sure that every petition gets to the right people. No, you're worried about mail-in ballots. I get it. I'm worried about mailed-in petitions right now. So you have to get them live. Don't rely on the U.S. Postal Service. If you send people to recallgavin2020.com, God bless you, send them to donate money because they're not going to find the petition button up anymore. If you send them to GoCo or put them in the mail, it doesn't count. Make that work that you've done count by getting those petitions to the right people in your county by going to recallgavin2020.com. Finding your county person and getting hold of them. If you can't, you know how to get a hold of me. And if you don't by now, I don't know where you've been. Susan, Robin, Orrin, anybody. That's what the question needs to be. We're no longer going to be answering questions. Well, how do I sign the petition? Do it or do that. If you haven't figured it out by now, oh well, too bad for you. Our mission right now, and the question's going to be, how do I get my signed petition in? God bless you. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Any questions in the next week? We're available in the feed. Again, feel free to call into the radio show 6 to 8 Friday night. It's another chance to get them answered at Friday nights at the French Laundry. Let's continue this drive. Let's take back our state. God bless you, everybody, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, that's the final good night. Good night now.